Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to your breaking news show. Here are the stories on your screen. We're going to talk about Kobbie Mainoo deal close, getting there, closer and close, so close you can touch it, some journalists might describe it as. We're also going to discuss Amad Diallo's hint at the return. Could he be back sooner than when we imagined? Fingers crossed for that one. We're going to talk about Aiden Heaven. We'll talk about Jane Sancho's demands to Dortmund. We've had news coming in recently about Tyler Diblin and a few other little bits as well. So quite a busy day, to be fair, for an international week. We're in a weird territory here, aren't we, Sam?
Yeah, normally it's complete and utter transfer bollocks from people who I wouldn't trust to write a simple goodbye notice. But yeah, some of this stuff is from legit sources and sources that I've got backing. So yeah, it's interesting.
Sources that we trust, I think, is the best way to say for sure. So yeah, let's discuss this Kobbie deal because it's something that we've been keeping our eye on for a bit. It's something obviously we want to get done as soon as possible. Now, it got reported before that Muppeteers was a part of this as well, that the Kobbie Mainoo's renewal negotiations are very active. Strongly believe that the deal will be closed. The club want him to stay, and that is an absolute certainty that they want him to stay. How do you think they've managed to kind of, obviously we can only speculate as fans at the minute, but let's do that for a second. How do you think they've managed to bridge that gap, and what can they offer in terms of the future? Because if you're a player at United now, you're like, well, okay, maybe the past couple of weeks has been better, and it's, we can start to see something under hammering. But apart from that, what can you offer Mainoo that other clubs can't?
I think the important thing to point out was there was a report going around where he was asking for 180,000, wasn't there? Yeah. And a lot of people got angry about that. But I believe Laurie Whitwell was on Stretford Paddock, and he said everybody he spoke to saying that's not correct, and he trusts these people. So I will go with Laurie Whitwell on that because I trust him. So yeah, I think that's important to point out because a lot of people got angry at it, and yeah, you don't need that. But yeah, I imagine he wanted certain assurances about his involvement in the first team, because obviously under Ten Hag he came straight in and then didn't really leave the team, did he? Once he was in, he's had a bit of an injury ravaged season this season, so he probably wants assurances about in the team, assurances about the project. I think the fact that they brought in young players and they're promoting him, Aiden Heaven, Patrick Dorgu, Garnacho, Kobbie was part of that. They're promoting young players to like prominent positions. That'll probably help as well, because they're like, look, we've give Aiden Heaven a chance. We've given Dorgu a chance. These are young players, so you can be part of that as well. We've seen Cheeto pushed up to the first team. We've seen the likes of maybe Jack Morehouse and not Jack Morehouse, Jack Fletcher, and what's Morehouse's first name? I forget his name.
Don't know.
Anyway, Fletcher and Morehouse, that apparently, according to James as well, Muppeteers, they're next off the sort of rank. I saw a report about Shea Lacey as well. They're trying to protect him because they think he's as a future. So that's a good selling point to Kobbie, saying we're putting all this investment in youth and you could be a part of that. You could be the leading sort of fight of that. So I imagine that was that. And then obviously, if we win a Europa League, this Champions League football is a possibility as well. So there's another one for you.
Can you sign a 5-year deal though on ifs?
Well, nothing's certain, is it? You can't guarantee anything at this point. Like,
well, if you're a Champions League club, you can.
Yeah, but like you can't guarantee, oh, we'll definitely win a title next year, because City probably said that, didn't they, after the treble? Oh no, we'll definitely win trophies next year, and they're probably not.
I'm saying there are clubs who can say, look, Kobbie, we've got Champions League football.
Yeah. But like Arsenal had that for years, but didn't really mean anything, did it? Because they never won anything.
I think players in general, they just want to play in that, like, Europe's top.
Maybe,
to develop as a player and to become a better player, you have to play in the top leagues, right, and be against the best competition.
Is the end goal not trophies though? Do you not want to win trophies?
It depends on the player, doesn't it? I don't know what.
You know what I mean? Like,
you can only speculate what Kobbie's goal is. To be fair,
yeah. Like, I think a lot of players' goals would be trophies. Like, you want to win things. If you just want to be in the Champions League, I think it's a sort of quite a low bar. And it doesn't strike me as a guy who is only interested in the lowest bar. I think he wants to win a World Cup with England. I think he wants to win the Champions League. He wants to win the Premier League. I think he wants to win everything. He's already won an FA Cup in his short time that he's been a professional, so I think he wants to win everything. Probably why Trent is leaving Liverpool, because he wants to win the Champions League, and he's got near guarantee if he goes to Madrid, he's probably going to win one. So yeah, I think there's a lot of sort of stuff in there, but we don't know. We don't know what Kobbie's thinking, what his mindset is. But if it's getting closer, I imagine whatever it is we've sold to him has come some way to sort of convincing him to stay.
I'm just curious to know what his motives are, because if his motives are, is he, you know, he strikes me as the type of kid who wants to win things. Obviously, he's still young. But given the history of United, the past 10 years, it's been a graveyard for players. So I would imagine it's been quite hard to convince him to say, look, I know we've said this before to previous players under Ten Hag and Oli and Mourinho that it's going to get better and we're going to win things. And we did win things. We won Europa League, League Cups, FA Cups. You know, we have won stuff. More than other clubs will let you believe. But yeah, to tie him down to a 5-year deal, I imagine the structure process to say, like, this is the trajectory we're going to go for. This is why it's going to change. This is a landscape. Think about the new stadium. And little things like the new stadium could play into it as well. Like bits like that. You can offer him something there, I suppose. But I don't know. I just think if you're Kobbie now, there is a lot of clubs interested in you who are in better positions than United. If we're not looking through rose, tinted glasses, there is. And maybe abroad, maybe someone. I mean, you've seen Conor Gallagher, for example, go to Atletico Madrid.
He was forced, though, wasn't he?
He was forced, yeah. But I mean, I think if you was to ask him now when he's there, he'd probably be I'm loving it, you know.
But at the time, if you asked him, "Do you want to leave Chelsea?" he probably would have said no because he's a Chelsea lad. And I think Kobbie Mainoo is of the same mindset. Is he Stockport lad? Is he a United fan? Yeah. All he ever wanted to be is United player. So that holds a little bit of sort of promise. And I think he wants to be part of United. He'd rather win with United than he would with any other team. Like that's how he probably sees it. And I think Ineos are putting their mouth where the money is at the minute. Like they are progressing with this youth sort of orientated project. They are building a new stadium. They've revamped Carrington. They've got rid of a lot of sort of people upstairs. They're planning to turf out a load of players. We got a load of players out on loan. There's probably going to be more gone in the summer. So they seem like they're doing what they said they would do. So I know there's been a lot of say under previous regimes like Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh and even Ed Woodward where they've said shit and then it's just not happened. But it seems like Ineos are doing what they said they were going to do.
All right, let's go to the comments then. What's everyone saying? Random guy, both are equally as important, and that's in regards to the poll that we put up saying who's the most needed player to return from injury. Ahmad 73%, Kobbie 27%, but random guys saying both are equally, in my opinion. Ahmad is a vital part of the attacking style, while Mainoo is a talented midfielder where bodies are desperately needed. Mark Palmer says, just be me, but I think we should just get a decent striker and then focus on the youth. Navin Mapura says, hey guys, really like your videos. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Very kind of you. If you do like it, then please do like the video as well. Actually, click the button. Mark Palmer, yeah, absolutely. Get the scouts out looking for youth like Heaven and Obi Martin. What about Mantanto? We won 2 trophies in the last 2 years. Yeah, look, I'm not saying we're an absolute disaster. But I'm just saying traditionally, historically, this club has been a graveyard for players, managers, everyone. And maybe that will change under Ineos. Maybe the future will be different. But I'm just saying, you're committing 5 years of your life, possibly 6, whatever the deal's involved in this. So you have to know, look, am I going to be involved? Because even you look at his role in the team now, Sam, is he a definite nailed-on starter?
I think with this system, you'd probably look at a 10, wouldn't you? You're probably looking at him in the 10 role. Or is he that solution to play next to Ugarte in that 8 role that we're struggling to sort of figure out
who goes develop into that role?
Yeah, like Bruno's playing there at the minute. So is where he's happiest? Is that where he's most effective? I know he's done a very, very good job, but is he the most effective there? Is he better positioned in the 10? So there's a lot of question marks, like where he will play. I think he's too talented not to be in this team. So I think we will find a place for him, whether that is the 10 or whether that is the 8. We'll figure it out. But I'm sure that Amorim is practically nous enough to know where to play him. And if he isn't, he probably will be sold. Like there was all that stuff about Garnacho, wasn't it? Because he didn't really fit in anywhere. But now he's adapted to that right-hand side role and he's playing really well there. So maybe a similar thing could happen with Kobbie.
That's why I'm fascinated to see what happens with him if he does. Because from listening to Amorim, and I spoke about this yesterday, the way he speaks about Kobbie in that role, saying his recovery runs aren't great, like spacing issues at times. Obviously, I was listening to Carl Anker the other day on Paddock as well, speaking about the progressive problems that we have in the midfield, and if he can kind of develop into that as well. So that's one thing I want to see when he gets back, if he does continue in the 10. I can't remember who it was against. Was it in the Europa League when he played the first time?
Yeah.
And we was all like, okay. And he seemed instantly better, like transformative. So if he does come back in there, then it's like, okay, well, who's going to get dropped? I know competition's a good thing, but will Xerxes get dropped? You want Garnacho still for the direct pace, so maybe you have a scenario where you have Garnacho, Kobbie, and Rasmus.
Yeah, that's a scenario as well. If we bring in an experienced striker in the summer, then maybe Rasmus is the one who goes to the bench as well. And then you've got the likes of Rasmus, Xerxes, and maybe a Cheeto on the bench. And there's some like attacking options there that you can bring on late into the game to sort of stretch. So Garnacho is going to stretch the play. Højlund's going to make those runs. Xerxes will drop deep, which will pull defenders out and create space behind. So there's all these different options, which is nice, which I think we don't have that deep of a squad at the minute in terms of quality. Like once you go down a certain level, it's players who are on their way out or players who've never played a professional game for the men's adult team. Like that's where we're at the minute.
Yeah, we also mentioned Amad Diallo in the poll as well, because we had a bit of news on him that he's likely to return to the team in early May, maybe even the end of April. We've also seen posts on Instagram as well, eye emojis, sun timers, all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, it'd be great to have him back in general, Sam, but if we get past Lyon, which is doable, I think, we can do that. The semi-final, so the first leg of the semi-final is the 1st of May. And then the second leg is the 8th of May. So that could be critical timing for Amad to come back, wouldn't it? Like a game changer, basically, having him available. Yeah,
they said early May, so maybe the 1st of May might be a bit early. But second leg, say maybe he's not fit to start, but say we're chasing it in the second leg and we need a goal or we need a spark of something, you can chuck him on in the last 20, 30 minutes. Like you said, it could be absolutely integral and get us that goal that puts us into the final and wins us that game. Having any sort of option off the bench, especially a player like Amad, who has been, let's be honest, bar Bruno, has been our most effective, like in terms of like goal scoring. He's been the guy to create and score the goals. He's been the one to do it. So yeah, having him back would be an absolute bonus, especially in Europa if we get past Lyon. Obviously in the league, it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, in Europa League, he would be super valuable if we get to the semis and then obviously to the final as well. Like if you could have him ready for the final, you'd fancy your chances.
Think about all the players that could be back for the final, potentially. The options that you could have, you could be able to choose from Shaw, Yoro, Heaven, obviously not Sandro will be out, De Ligt, Maguire, Kobbie, Bruno, Ugarte, Mount, Amad, like all these players, you could have a huge selection if you get them. And I think that's why they'll be very careful with players like that, kind of bringing a delicate process, because it's crunch time now in the Europa League and you need everyone available. You never know. Sometimes you get those unsung heroes like a Mount who comes off the bench, gets an assist or gets a goal and changes it. So yeah, having players like that. Another one is Aiden Heaven as well. He's got a chance in participating in training for Manchester United this week, which is great news in it, Sam, considering the initial injury that he got. We all thought he was going to be out for a while, didn't we?
Yeah, that looks like a Lissandro type injury, didn't it? Where you're like, that's his season done. Like he's over. The way he was like tapping and like sort of shouting at people to like that, it looked like a proper bad injury, like a ligament or something like that. And he left in a boot, I believe. And then Laurie reported that he was seen without a boot at Carrington, which was good news. And now it seems like he's getting back into training, which is excellent news, because in all honesty, in his last 2 games that he started, I thought he's been phenomenal. I thought he's been fantastic. Really good. And a breath of fresh air in that defence. Like, he's been excellent.
Is there a case of maybe being a little bit careful in our analysis of the player as well? Maybe not overdoing it, because we do have a reputation of that, don't we? Pushing young players a little bit too much. So I think we do need to protect him in that sense as well. But everything I've seen at the moment, and we know Amarin isn't scared to play young players as well. Like he's pushing Collier a bit more, he's playing Yoro more. Like these players that we're talking about, in your opinion, and same question to the chat as well. Are players like Yoro and Heaven the future of this club in that back line when you look at them play now?
Yeah, because you see it like Lindelof is gone in the summer. Maguire is what, 31, 32?
Yeah. And they want Branthwaite to replace him, apparently, according to news as well. So, to
Well,
replace
I saw
Maguire.
another report about Branthwaite that's saying they've not contacted him since the summer. So that came out today. So yeah, I'm not sure on that, but like he's at that age. But then the rest of the back line are really, really young. Like you've got Dorgu, who's 20, 21. You got De Ligt, who's 24. You got Yoro, who's like 19. You got Heaven, who's 18. So like that whole back line, once you sort of take Lindelof and Maguire out of the equation, is a really young back line. So that should, like, that could be a defensive line for like the next 8 years or something like that. So that's really exciting to see. Obviously, there's been talks on a new goalkeeper. I've seen that with the Muppeteers and stuff. So we could see a completely different backline like next year. We could see a new goalie. You could see Heaven, De Ligt, Yoros lining up. You could see Lissandro back in the mix. You could see Mazraoui or Luke Shaw playing in there. Yeah, that's what I mean. So there could be a load of different options like come next year.
Because I still think you do need experience in the back line. It's nice having young talents in there, and maybe you do have clubs sometimes like Arsenal are a bit of an anomaly in the sense that Saliba's young and Gabriel's young, Ben White's young. That whole back line, Timber as well, very young.
De Ligt has got experience. He's young, but he's got experience, hasn't he?
Yeah,
like he's played for Ajax, he played for Bayern, played for Juventus. He's played in the Champions League. He's played in World Cups.
Yeah,
like he's got that experience, and he's only 24. So he's got a lot of experience, so that he can definitely help him out there. Like he's definitely a leader. But yeah, it'd be nice to go out and maybe get an experienced defender, like a sort of 26, 27-year-old centre back. Like that'd be interesting to see to help guide these, like the likes of Heaven and the likes of Yoro along. And then maybe you could switch out with De Ligt, and then they could sort of play off each other as well. So that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, sorry, I skipped past that question before. A random guy when you mentioned Mantato. He's someone I think who's next through the line. Especially in the summer pre-season. Bendito Mantato is someone I would definitely keep an eye on in that wing-back area, or even maybe more advanced.
Muppeteers, James Muppeteers mentioned him on our show, didn't he? He was like, he's the next one. Like he's the next guy to sort of come through. He might even see minutes before the end of the season, and he probably would have been in the team if it not. He was injured, wasn't he? And he said he probably would have had his chance if not for the injury. So yeah, he looks like an excellent prospect.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of the Onana to Saudi news? Looks like it's nailed on now. Yeah. Again, this is something I touched on yesterday about the agency thing as well, where he switched to it. Listen, I have to be completely honest, and I'm sure Sam probably feels the same. If he wants to move to Saudi give us good money. You're not turning
Show me the
down,
money,
you, Sam.
Show me the money. Give it us. Give us a big fat fee for him, and you can have him.
Even if you get back what we paid for him, even if we paid for was it 40-45 mil? Yeah, if you can get that back, and we can bring a keeper in, and do it. But it's just who they bring in. I look at the goalkeeper market at the moment, and it's not glaring.
There's quite a few sort of young, exciting goalies around, but none of them are top level proven.
Exactly.
There's a lot of young players out there who are exciting, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting if he does go and who we sort of pivot towards, because then that's another player then we've got to go after, isn't it? Because our list is already long, and it's going to become longer if he does go to Saudi. So.
Well, touching on young, talented, exciting players, there's been some more news coming out today about Tyler Diblin from Southampton, and it's from Chris Wheeler and Nathan Salt. 14 Premier League clubs led by Man United, Tottenham, Liverpool and Manchester City have all inquired about Tyler Diblin. There's also strong interest from RB Leipzig, Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. Jason Wilcox knows Diblin from his time at Southampton. United scouts watched him in action for England under-19s versus Wales last week. I keep seeing this. This is another player that the only thing is, with that many clubs interested, you think the price tag is going to get a bit bloated, that, innit?
Yeah, unless he's got some sort of release clause in there or something in his contracts. Like, is it?
I'm not aware of it if he has.
No. But we've seen players like that. Like, obviously, Alexis McAllister, when he went to Liverpool, he went for 35 million because of a release clause. And I think it's only active for like top Premier League clubs and stuff like that. So, say a different team would have come in for them, it would have been a lot more, I imagine. So yeah, I think that could be a possibility. Obviously, Southampton are being relegated now, so I think that's going to be a factor that they're going to need money. So how are they going to hold out for a stupid fee and then nobody pays it, and then they miss out on that vital fee. So there's that. Obviously, you got the Jason Wilcox connection. I'm sure he's got contacts in there and people that he knows that could help facilitate a deal. So there's that factor as well. So yeah, there's that amount of clubs involved. It could get messy, but we'll see, man. Like I as long as United don't overpay, if they're going in for it, don't overpay. If
sure
City and Spurs are willing to pay 50, 60 million, then just walk away. There's other players out there. You don't need to pay that stupid money for a prospect. Like, those days need to be over for United. We can't be doing that anymore.
Joe, just a couple of updates on Diblin. His contract situation does run out in 2027, so he's got 2 years left on his deal.
Right.
And whilst there's no definitive confirmation of a release clause, reports suggesting that Southampton will be forced to sell him if they are relegated from the Premier League. So that's the situation that we're in with him at the moment. I remember in the game against United where he absolutely rinsed Dalot on that right-hand side. He had his number every single time. He squared him up with the ball. And I think having those jack-in-the-box dribblers in one of those inside 10 roles who's comfortable on both feet.
Yeah.
I think we need more players like that. But price is everything on this, and competition, again, trying to convince him to join the club. But Wilcox, I have, and I know you're the same time, I have all faith in him. If he's identified this player and he wants to bring him in, I think he'd be a good fit. I'm all for it. Whoever he wants, go and get, because he's got talent identification, man. You've seen that with someone like the likes of Patrick Dorgu at the moment.
Yeah, he's hitting it out of the park. Aiden Heaven, Chido Obi, Patrick Dorgu, like he's hitting it out of the park. Obviously, you saw his impact at City with bringing through the likes of Phil Foden, Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, Cole Palmer. So he seems like he's got a definite eye for talent. So if he says Tyler Diblin is somebody we should go get, let's listen to him. This is why we've hired him. Like, this is the reason why we got him, is to identify talent to go sign. So, yeah, let's listen to him.
Well, whilst we're on the topic of young Manchester City Academy players, Jadon Sancho, more news coming out about him from Germany. So, Jadon Sancho apparently has submitted a transfer request to his management to move to Borussia Dortmund again. Mr. Freedom wanting his move. It just seems like, and again, this might be bollocks, it might not be true, they might be jumping on the wagon, and we have to take that into account, right? But it just seems like this kid wants an easy life, doesn't he? He just wants I look at that move going back to Dortmund, and I'm like, you just want it comfy, you want it easy.
The Premier League is obviously too difficult for him, isn't it? It's too intense, it's too physical, it's too quick. And he's not getting the time on the ball that he gets in the Bundesliga. So he just can't affect games. And then he doesn't have the drive or the attitude to improve himself, work on things, become better, become more adaptable and stuff like that, which you see with different players who have come to the league and have adapted and improved their game. Like, he's just not willing to do it. And it's so weird because he's clearly a talented lad. Like, he's clearly got a huge talent for this game. And he just doesn't want to push himself at all. And we've seen it millions of times, especially with United players. Like, I've spoke about Ravel Morrison 1,000 times. That guy was one of the most talented players I've ever seen in my life. Couldn't put it together, just didn't have the right headset, the right attitude or anything, and just couldn't put it together, and ended up bouncing around like Lazio, Derby, West Ham, all these different clubs, just could never get it together. And Sancho's going the same way. It's like he's gone to United and he went on loan back to Dortmund, and then he's gone on loan to Chelsea, and now he wants to go back to Dortmund. And it's just like, that might be his career. Like, how long till Dortmund get sick of his shit and then try and shift him on? Do you know what I mean? And also, Dortmund are not paying any sort of money for him, are they? There's no fucking way are they coming in with a decent price. Like, there's no fucking way.
Mess with Chelsea to clean up. Like, I'm glad that the positive news out of that was that they've cooled those kind of rumours down a little bit, according to people like Rob Dawson from ESPN and stuff. So hopefully that is true, and hopefully they still do sign him. But I guarantee, even if they do pay the money for him, they're going to offload him as soon as they can. And try and make a book on it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll try him. So
it's just it's weird how Enzo Maresca wanted him so much, and he's still playing, he's still starting, but he's just not. What is it, 20 odd games, no goals, no assists,
no shots on target since December. I think that was I heard or something.
Bizarre, man. I don't know why he doesn't get dropped. I don't know why Maresca's gone, I've made a mistake here. This
is a gamble, isn't it? And him dropping Sancho now would make him look foolish. Managers, as well as players, as we know, have egos, and they need to feed that ego. And I think if he drops Sancho, he's almost admitting that I got it wrong.
I think Maresca gets sacked in the summer, personally. I think he's gone.
Wouldn't surprise me. I was very surprised when they got rid of Poch, because I thought
I was as well.
towards
Got
the
it
end of
together,
that
didn't
season,
he? Got it together.
weird. And it was like I could start to see a pathway, and I'm like, okay. And then he go, nope, it's in a bit potch.
Yeah.
This is the way we're going. I don't know what the politics was behind that, whether it was to do with the way they're kind of treating players
and stuff.
Yeah, and it was probably to do with the Gallagher stuff, saying we've got to get rid of these players. And Poch was kind of what keep, because he likes working with young academy players, so I'd imagine it had something to do with that. Alex saying we need a pipeline to Saudi. Can't believe we haven't sold to them yet. Yeah, it'd be all right, wouldn't it? It'd be all right. They seem to be buying everyone else, but just don't want any of our playlayers.
No, I thought Casemiro was a certain.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I thought I guarantee going to happen, but it's not happened, has it? Just not happened.
No. The lads always give me stick when I say Henderson was better. Are you referring to Henderson was better than Onana or De Gea, or are you on about Dean Henderson, Jordan Henderson? I don't know.
I think they talk about Dean. I think they talk about Dean Henderson.
You have to clarify that. My Irish roots, Kelleher now a fit Bazuna. Kelleher, yeah, I'm sure Adam would be made up with that.
That'll go down well. Former Liverpool player playing for United. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
that's never happened.
Cannot see that happening anytime soon. But we're open to suggestions. If anyone's got a goalkeeper, you think United should go and get. I mean, obviously Diogo Costa's the big name that keeps floating about as well. But I've seen him have a couple of clangers in Qatar, and expensive as well. Very expensive.
They want stupid money as well, don't they? And they want like 70, 80 million or something ridiculous for the goal list. So,
right, let's end on a positive then. We've got some stuff about Shea Lacey. This is from Stephen Railston, who's very good around the academy news. Man United apparently being very careful with the treatment of Shea Lacey to protect his long-term future. He is seen as a future first-team prospect. Now, we know we've got a lot of talent coming off the conveyor belt, Sam. This is someone that if he continues to develop the way he's going, and you know yourself, because we spoke about this when we did a bit of a review, this is someone who looks like he's going to break into the first team. I've seen comparisons to the likes of Phil Foden, which I know isn't a great comparison because he is a City player, but that kind of close-knit dribbling, the ability to beat players, the creativity, another exciting player, isn't it? Potentially.
Yeah, we did a show, didn't we, where we picked out a youth player each.
Yeah.
And I think you picked Shea Lacey, didn't you? And I did Harry Amas. So
no, it's the other way around. I did Harry Amas and you did Shea Lacey.
Yeah. So, Shea Lacey, I think, is one of the most exciting talents. Like, we've got a hell of a sort of youth team coming through in a minute. By the way, like, honest to God, some of the talent we've got in that squad is amazing. And they are smashing teams left, right, and centre every fucking week, just bitching people up. So, I'm really excited about Shea Lacey. Really unfortunate in the summer. Was it a shoulder injury
he's had a couple of kind of niggly injuries, hasn't he?
So it was a bit annoying that he got an injury. Seems like a stand-up lad as well. I've seen like loads of photos of him with like young kids. He's give boots away and stuff like that. Seems like a really good kid. Yeah, really exciting talent. Can run directly at people. Scares the shit out of defenders. Got good goal scoring on him. Really good assist numbers and stuff. Like, I really, really like this talent. And I think had it not be for injury, much like Mantato, had it not be for injury this season, we probably would have seen him on that bench and had opportunities like those other young players that we had when in the Tottenham game. I think we would have seen him at this point somehow. But he's an exciting talent, man. Really, really exciting talent. And I hope he gets an opportunity this summer in pre-season and we get to see things if he can fit into the team, or maybe he needs a bit of seasoning, needs to go on loan somewhere to sort of develop and that. But really excited about Shea Lacey. I really, really like him.
I think it must be exciting for young players now, isn't it, coming up, knowing that there's actually an opportunity. Like with Amorim now at the helm, and you're watching like players you've just been playing with. Like, I assisted Chido the other day. Aiden was playing with us. Like, they're actually seeing it. It's there, so it gives them more of an incentive to like, right, actually, step it up now. And they're always professional anyway. I'm sure they are, but seeing that must be a real kind of pathway for them now to be like, I can actually make it now, and I'm going to improve my game like tenfold. So I think that's really exciting.
It's always been a thing of United, like youth, courage, success. Like that's always been something we've done.
I think managers have stunted it sometimes.
Yeah, I think certain managers haven't been as into that as well. But I think Amorim is definitely about that. Ollie was definitely about that, but like Amorim is definitely about that. Like you said, we've seen the likes of Heaven come through. Chido's been around the team for a while now. I definitely think there's a route there. And like even before Amorim came in, like you saw the likes of Kobbie Mainoo get up there. Like he's been a poster boy for it. So yeah, and the fact that so many more are getting their chances, Shea Lacey will definitely fancy his chances of like trying to force his way into this squad.
I always look at someone like a Shea Lacey and I think his progression is going to depend on the kind of physical development. Because the transformation from academy football to Premier League football is just night and day, and it is so huge.
Physicality is the number one word, isn't it? Like you need to be physically ready for it, otherwise it's just going to eat you alive.
Even the mentality, just because of how high paced the games are, and you can only imagine. Obviously, we've not been in the Premier League game, but watching it, you can just see you've got a split second to think on the ball. It's just miles away from academy football. So hopefully he stays injury free. Hopefully he keeps on improving. And yeah, I think he's got the potential to become a high level player for United if he continues. I'm excited to see it.
And it's not even about size or like sort of muscle stuff, because I saw a report, I think it was Nathan Salt as well, that said about Ahmad, he's one of the strongest physically players in the team. He's only like, what, 5'5", 5'6" or something? Tiny guy, but apparently he is impossible to knock off the ball or get the ball away from because he's that strong.
We've seen it in game, haven't we?
Like, we've seen it in game. So
Messi was similar.
Like, so like people say, oh, they're too small or too short. Like it doesn't matter. Like if you can hold players off or you've got strength on the ball, like it doesn't matter what happens. So yeah, I'm excited with Shea Lacey.
And I want these players that are coming in now to learn off the best as well. So Bruno, for whatever people might say about him, he is a good example. He's good with the young players as well. I think you need more players like that guiding them, because that's how they're going to make it to the top, not just on their own. They need that support system in there as well. So hopefully we address that kind of culture, which it seems like we're doing in a minute, getting rid of certain players who thou shall not mention. So yeah. That is a
shout out from random guy. I think it was a good shout. Lunin from Real Madrid.
Yeah, I've seen bits and bobs. I have to admit, I haven't done like a deep dive on him, but it seems pretty promising. Look, it might be one of those players. No one was talking about Patrick Dorgu before we signed him. You know, could be a player they go and get. I've heard of a goalkeeper from Strasbourg, is it? I think that we've been linked with. That Zion Suzuki is the name that's been floated about loads of times.
Is he still floating about?
Zion? Yeah, he's doing well. I think he's in the Italian league now. He's doing really, really well. So if it is and he comes in and he's great, even better for me personally. It doesn't have to be a well-known name.
Because you've scouted him already. You've done a video on him already. So.
There we go. So I'm all for it. Yeah, I don't need to do another video on him. But yeah, do let us know your thoughts on that. Anyone who's watching this later on and not watching it live, what goalkeeper would you go and get? Are you excited to see Ahmad and Kobbie return to the team in the near future? And what do you reckon on the games we've got returning? Because obviously we've got a game on Tuesday, so a week from now, United will be back in action. We'll be training this week as well. We'll have an Amarin press conference. So all things resuming back to normality. I hate international breaks, and that's well known. I think we both hate them, don't we? To be fair, so
yeah. Just when you're in England fan, there's just nothing to be excited about.
I just couldn't give a bollocks. I saw I was in work last night. I was watching. Saw we're beating Latvia 3-0. I was like, it's just expected, isn't it? You know what I mean? Anyhow.
Like, who gives a shit? Like, who cares?
I don't. I certainly don't. I just can't wait for United to return. And yeah, let's go win that Europa League. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Please do hit that subscribe button. We're on 13,442 subs. Also, in the bottom right-hand corner here, drop us a follow on socials for all the latest news updates by the fucking minute, pretty much, on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as well for your clips from the show. Appreciate every single one.